The war in Ukraine, which erupted in 2014 and continues to the present day, stands as a stark reminder of the complex geopolitical dynamics that shape the modern world. Fueled by historical tensions, ethnic divisions, and geopolitical ambitions, this protracted conflict has had far-reaching consequences, not only for Ukraine but also for the broader region of Eastern Europe. This article aims to provide an overview of the war, highlighting its origins, key events, and implications. Origins and background. The roots of the war can be traced back to Ukraine's desire for closer integration with the European Union and NATO, which sparked discontent among segments of the population with pro-Russian sentiments. In late 2013, when the Ukrainian government signaled its intention to pursue an EU association agreement, Russia responded by pressuring Ukraine to join its Eurasian Customs Union. This led to widespread protests, and ultimately the ousting of President Viktor Yanukovych in February 2014. Russian annexation of Crimea. In the wake of Yanukovych's departure, Russia swiftly moved to assert its influence in Ukraine. In March 2014, it annexed Crimea, a strategically important region with historical ties to Russia and home to a significant ethnic Russian population. The annexation of Crimea was met with international condemnation, as it violated Ukraine's territorial integrity and the principles of international law. Pro-Russian separatist movements. Following the annexation of Crimea, pro-Russian sentiments gained momentum in eastern Ukraine, particularly in Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Separatist movements emerged, advocating for independence or closer ties with Russia. These movements were backed by Russia, which provided military support and personnel, leading to an escalation of the conflict. Minsk agreements and fragile ceasefires. Multiple ceasefire agreements, notably the Minsk Protocol and the Minsk II agreement, were brokered by international actors to de-escalate the conflict. However, these agreements have been repeatedly violated, with sporadic fighting and casualties continuing to this day. The conflict has become entrenched, resulting in a frozen conflict zone in eastern Ukraine, with the self-proclaimed Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics controlling certain territories. Humanitarian crisis and displacement. The war in Ukraine has had a devastating impact on the civilian population. Thousands of lives have been lost, and millions have been displaced from their homes. The conflict has disrupted essential services, such as healthcare and education, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis in the affected regions. The ongoing hostilities have also hindered economic development and investment, further exacerbating the challenges faced by Ukraine. Geopolitical implications. The war in Ukraine has profound geopolitical implications, not only for Ukraine but also for the broader region. It has strained relations between Russia and the West, resulting in economic sanctions and political tensions. The conflict has also raised concerns among neighboring countries with significant Russian-speaking populations, heightening anxieties about potential Russian intervention. Moreover, the war has influenced the security calculations of NATO and the EU, prompting a reassessment of their policies and strategies in Eastern Europe. International response and efforts at resolution. The international community has been actively engaged in addressing the conflict in Ukraine. Diplomatic efforts, including negotiations and mediation, have been pursued by various actors, such as the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe and individual states. Economic sanctions have been imposed on Russia by the EU and the United States as a means to deter further aggression. However, finding a sustainable resolution to the conflict remains elusive, and the war continues to have a destabilizing impact on the region.